What's up? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hopefully you're doing amazing. Hopefully life is going swimmingly. Why do people say that? Swimmingly. Swimming is an exercise with every body part. Swimming is tough. Is that even a real saying? It's going swimmingly. That's so dumb. I guess swimming's fun. Yo, what's up, Solus? Welcome. This is a news commentary live stream I do every weekday. Monday through Friday. Every weekday. I'm feeling a little better. I'm still not 100%, so it just sucks. Just sucks. Very exhausted. But when I'm not sick, we usually cover the news a little more in depth, and there's a lot of commentary that happens. That's why I call it newsmentary. News commentary. And there is so much news. I hope I can cover it all in this. First, I got to start out by saying, listen. And listen closely. If you celebrate Halloween, if you like to gobble up that candy, be careful. I didn't know this, and I wish I knew it sooner. That there are known carcinogens in our Halloween candy. Like, this is well established, well known. Red number 3 is a carcinogen known to humans. This is a well-known carcinogen, meaning cancer agent, cancer causing. Skibbity. What's up, JM? Good to see you, man. Red number 3. We're gonna start off by talking about Halloween candy. We're gonna talk about a lot of highly suspect activities. Carcinogen means cancer causing agent. Known to cause cancer. So red dye number 3, it is proven to cause cancer in rats, and the way companies are defending this by being in our Halloween candy is they're saying, well, the cancer that it causes in rats isn't a cancer that humans get, which is knuckin' futz. First of all, that they would take any risk. They're like, yeah, it causes red dye number 3 causes cancer in rats, but it's okay for humans to consume. Especially when you look at the fact that red dye number 3 is not allowed in makeups, in cosmetics in America. But somehow it's not allowed to be put in makeups to put on your face, but we can consume it. Highly suspect activities. That's what today's news stream is going to be about. I heard one of the red dyes made up of dead, dried parasites turned into dust. Yeah, I don't know how they make it. I'm assuming it's very synthetic, but you can use beets. I like when I see in the ingredients beets are used for the dye, because beets can turn stuff red, deep purple, red, whatever. Just figure it out, companies. But we're going to start off, this whole news commentary, newsmentary is going to be about highly suspect activities. From the Microsoft CEO laying off 2,500 people and then giving himself a 63% raise to $79 million, to some of Elon's highly suspect activities, which this dude's got to go to prison at some point. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you get to break the law. And I understand that's how it goes usually in America, but come on, people. Even Mr. Beast and KSI and Logan Paul, just breaking like 3 hours ago, TMZ's reported that the FDA has been getting a lot of complaints because their Lunchables. Why would you try to remake Lunchables? Like, Lunchables was just found to have lead in it, and you're trying to compete in that space. Jesus Christ, people. They understand that their audience is 10 years old. And it's sad that they're willing to try to take advantage of these kids and their families. But the FDA has gotten a lot of complaints about mold in their cheese, in their Lunchleys. Which you think 3 guys that wealthy could just do it proper? They could do a test run, make sure there's no mold in the cheese before it gets sent out to, kids. They understand that their market is kids, remember. They're well aware of that. That's why they're producing little Lunchables, little comparative Lunchables, because they know kids are the ones that adore these men. And these grown men are sending them out moldy food. The FDA has gotten complaints, and one person has gotten pretty ill, I guess. Don't believe the hype economy. Don't believe it. That is on Nerds, Ropes, Lipstick, and some other stuff. I don't remember. Yeah, you're right. Red dye number 3. Yes, Anita Patel Korovisi. You can get a shout. 10,000 if you go shop and buy a potato. 10,000 what? You didn't even specify. So we're going to talk about a lot of highly suspect activities. Those grown-ass men tricking kids into buying moldy food. Please, people, I know Donald Trump just did a shift at McDonald's. Not a shift, 15 minutes. He wouldn't last the whole shift. But there's also an E. coli outbreak with McDonald's onions on the quarter pounder. So this is a lot of news that I just want to bring to your attention because it's unfortunate that there's been listeria outbreaks in chicken, E. coli in the onions at McDonald's, which one person I think died, a lot of people sick. Moldy lunchlies. I mean, think about this. We're supposed to be living in like a industrialized nation, and this is why when you hear these wealthy people talk about how regulation stifles the market, regulation protects us. Regulation makes sure our water is clean, our food isn't moldy, and that's what the government's supposed to do. It's supposed to regulate because if capitalists had it their way, they would make things as cheap as they could, as quick as they could to get it to you for the most they can make on it. And they don't care about whether you get sick or not. And regulation protects us from that. So regulation is a good thing. And there's an outbreak at McDonald's too. So don't go to McDonald's and be careful what Halloween candy you buy. So let's get back into the Halloween candy. Red dye number 3, which is banned. They cannot put it in food in Europe. Europe said, nah, ain't happening. Somehow the great America still allows it in our candy, though does not allow it in our cosmetics. Articles down below. Hit subscribe and the notification bell. I'm trying to do a public service on today's live stream. I'm trying to tell you what to beware of. Don't eat lunchlies. Apparently they're moldy. Allegedly. Well, no, not allegedly. I've seen the photos. McDonald's has a horrible outbreak of E. coli in their quarter pounders, so be very careful if you go to McDonald's. And if you're getting Halloween candy, because we're getting close to that, red dye number 3 is a known carcinogen, not allowed in cosmetics, but it's allowed in one of my favorite candies of all time, candy corn. Candy corn, the pumpkin candy corn, the autumn mix candy corn, the nerds, like Solis said. There's a few other things. Again, the list is down below. I think it's an NBC or CBS how buyer beware article. And it lists the candies that red dye number 3 are in. And I'm sure it's in much, much more of our food that we're not aware of, but because it's Halloween time and they can do clickbait, that's the list that they gave us. Which I always try to look at the ingredients when I'm buying stuff, especially because my kids do like certain things and there are dyes in it, but it sucks. And that's why I said, you can see sometimes the ingredients say beet juice for coloring, which is like, yo, if we could use something natural, just do that. Even if it costs more, just do it. Because what are the long-term costs? Let's think about that. The long-term costs are, well, they found that like there's neurodeficiencies and different things. It's funny to me that people talk about vaccines and autism and stuff like that, but they don't consider, this is the biggest thing that frustrates me, they don't consider that our water is fucking polluted, that our food has red dye number 3, which is banned in Europe, and it's not allowed in cosmetics in America. I don't understand how you can't put it in cosmetics, but you're allowed to put in food that we consume. Can't put it on your face, but you can eat it. This is baffling. It really, it glitches my brain out. Yeah, good thing you don't eat McDonald's. He's promoting that terrible stuff to kids too. Yeah, 100%. In the middle of a Twitter argument, Tommy and it said, I want to take this time to promote my new vape product, Vapely. He doesn't actually have a good point. Tommy in it. He's a funny one. He's a funny one. So again, it baffles me at how the regulation hasn't come to restrict this red dye number 3. But I'm pissed, and I haven't got any candy corn this year. I just stayed away from it. Again, because I do. Before I buy something, I'll look at the ingredients, and usually the ingredients will turn me off just enough to not spend the money on it. Unless, you know, I haven't eaten all day and I go to the store, then all bets are off. But I won't eat I won't let my kid. We're done buying candy corn. Anything from Brax. It looked like the list was like all Brax candy. Brax is the one that makes like the candy corn and stuff. Acid. Red dye number 40, I think, is banned in the UK and is not safe for eye use in the US only because it stains. Well, in this article down below, they talk about red dye. I believe it's red dye number 3. And they said it's banned in cosmetics in America, but it's still in our food. And they said California is banning it by 2027. Now, California is usually ahead of the game. The crunchy granola folks, the hippies that I love out in California, they're usually all in for your safety because, again, think about the long-term effects of this. They're consequences that we can't even consider yet because you don't know over the lifespan of somebody consuming. Let's say every year you're consuming candy corns, like I have. And then over the course of 40 years, what does that do to your body? Well, they figured out that in kids, you know, this red dye can mess with them. But that's the stuff that I don't understand why people don't correlate, like how we're allowed certain poisons that aren't allowed in makeup, that are banned in Europe, that are going to be banned in California, that clearly they say like rats have gotten cancer from this. It states it in the article. You're real consistent with these live streams, man. Keep it up for real. I'm not driving. No. I'm parked. I gotta do some errands, which I hate going out. This is why I said, like, it's weird for me because I love people. Like, one-on-one, I love people. People are fascinating. I think everybody has a story. Most people have a story. Everybody's got a story. But the public, I can't stand it. I can't stand people in crowds. Can't do it. But thank you, Koo. Good to see you, man. And I do this, by the way, I do this live stream 5 days a week, every weekday, sick or not. I'm sick as a dog right now, but I'm still here because I love you. And I think this is important that before Halloween, if you're going to be buying those mallow pumpkins and candy corn and Automix, don't do it. Not worth it, especially if you got kids. Don't give it to your kids, man. It just bums me out that the FDA is basically subject to, you know, what is good for the economy, the bullshit economy. Which, what kind of economy do you have if you poison all the people? And look at all the stories right now. Huge listeria outbreak in chicken, in pre-cooked chicken across the U.S. McDonald's E. coli outbreak. Lunchly, moldy-ass FDA complaints. E. coli from red dye McDonald's. That sounds horrific if that's for real. Because you read, these people are going to the hospital from food poisoning. You figure, like, this is what regulation is. And Donald Trump, number one, he's against regulation big time. But it scares me because it's like, it's basic shit, folks. Like, how do these capitalists, their greed is so fucking blinding. Bring back tradition, a.k.a. the guillotine. Go watch, what's his name? Rusty Bolts. What's his name? Rusty something. He's a singer. He built a guillotine here on YouTube. Rusty something, I forget. He's friends with Nerd City. Never seen snow in my life. I'm vegetarian. Listen, I would like to try to be a vegetarian. That's what I'm getting right now. I'm getting some the veggies you steam in a bag. That's what I've been having for dinner lately. Because I just pop it in the microwave, put some salt on it, just eat a bunch of veggies. I'm so exhausted. My body's so tired. Good afternoon, Kevin Hawthorne. Good to see you, friend. Good to see you. Hopefully you stayed safe when the hurricanes hit Florida, man. Thinking about all my people in Florida. Sending you love and safety. Hopefully everything's okay. But, yeah, man. Just look at all the stories right now. You can't turn anywhere and not see food being poisoning people. That's why I don't understand these greed, like the Microsoft CEO, who from 2023 to 2024, they laid off over 2,500 people. Microsoft laid off 2,500 people. But at the same time, this is why it's like, how do people not put this shit together? At the same time they're laying off those people, the CEO, I don't know his name. I don't give a shit. It's in the article down below. But this Sayati, I don't know how his name, I don't give a shit about his name, you know? I'm pissed because he's laying off 2,500 people, but at the same time, he gave himself a 63% raise. And his raise went up to $79 million a year. Nobody needs to make $79 million a year. I'm sorry. especially when there are people working at your company, the 2,500 that you laid off. Those people need whatever salary they were making, whether it was 200,000, 400,000, it doesn't matter. Those people need it. 79 million a year, you can work 1 year and be set for life, okay? And this dude gave him a 63% raise. Have you ever gotten a 63% raise? Has anybody you know gotten a 63% raise in 1 year? And he probably got it for laying off all those people. Well, no, he got much more than that, but that kind of greed. And again, $79 million a year. Yes, coup. Article down below. I link all the articles that I talk about down below, unless it's something off the cuff that we mentioned. But this one, you can read about it. It's in Eurogamer or some gamer website. They pointed out that the people that you love that build these video games that work for Microsoft, 2,500 of them were laid off. Meanwhile, the CEO gave himself a raise, approved probably by the board, of 63%, a 63% raise, and he's making 79 million a year. It's that kind of greed that blinds those morons. People think they're geniuses, and how could they make that much if they're not worth it? But nobody can work that hard. You can't work $79 million a year. Excuse me if I said 69 before. $79 million a year. You can't work that hard. Nobody works that hard. You can't. And if you could, it would be a single mom who's like working on the back of a trash truck. You know what I mean? Like, that's hard ass work. But this dude ain't working that hard. And plus, it's like a frat. They can just approve those salaries and work their salary. They're all friends up at the top, so they do it to each other. It's a little behind the secret handshake. But that's the kind of greed that blinds them to understand that, like, yo, if you're laying people off, if you're poisoning the food, if you don't care about making food that doesn't have mold in it, that isn't, regulated, so you have these protections in place so workers aren't coming in sick, contaminating things, or tired or overworked. If you don't have those regulations in place and you're poisoning the economy, how long do you think you could do that until you have people that will buy your products? I mean, if you're just trying to kill us all by putting poison in our food, like this Halloween candy, my Jesus Christ, you're very short-sighted. But they don't care because they got their 79 million a year. I love having money, but I hate money and creates greed. Listen, that's the thing I've dealt with my whole life, right? But the money doesn't create greed. It's the person. It's what happens when they get that kind of money. And you see these people get intoxicated with the power and whatever that comes along with the money. Like, we could talk about Elon real quick, because I linked an article about how in Georgia, a swing state, in Georgia, if you give people in line voting food or water, you can be sentenced, I forget if it's $5,000 fine and up to a year in prison. But here we got Elon Musk, who has hundreds of billions of dollars, money that he could never spend. It would take him so many lifetimes. Like, he couldn't live. You just couldn't. He's trying to go to Mars. That's how much stupid money he has. And it's not even real. It's all electronic. And if something happened to his companies, he'd be broke, but he wouldn't be broke. But anyways, Elon Musk is doing an illegal lottery. He's fucking with the election integrity, because he's getting people to, quote unquote, sign a petition. And if they do, and if they register to vote in a swing state, because I can't do it, I'm in Massachusetts, I'm not a swing state. But in Pennsylvania, he's had winners. These people that won $1 million from him. I'd like to see them with the money, though. But either not, he's influencing them by getting them to register to vote, sign a petition for $1 million. Which, he's dumped so much money into Trump. His whole website, X, Twitter, is all about supporting Trump. He's very much for Trump. You have to feel the influence of getting $1 million from somebody who really wants you to vote for Trump. If that doesn't fuck with election integrity, I don't know how giving somebody water or food waiting in hours to vote would. So this guy is clearly fucking doing some highly suspect activity. And what are we seeing from it? The DOJ, Department of Justice, wrote him a letter. What's a swing state? Is that considered San Francisco? No, I don't think. Swing states are states where they can flip red or blue, depending on, I think it's like the electors, because each state gets a certain number for the electoral college, which is so dumb. It just should be popular vote. It just should be how many people. But because we have that shit, it's like, you know, if whatever it is, I think it's like Pennsylvania, is there Iowa, Ohio? I don't give a shit about those states. If you live there and you're a good person, then, you know, my apologies. But from what I hear, Florida, Georgia, I believe, those are all states where they could flip red or blue. And that's why he's only doing this. This is why it's like an illegal lottery, because it's only for specific people to do specific things. Like, I can't register to win the $1 million, though I would love it if he gave me $1 million. Reminds me of how Mr. Beast got exposed for scripting his challenges and choosing his winners, like the hide and seek thing. Yeah, with Rosanna Pacino. I don't know how to say her name. Again, I linked an article down below where Rosanna has been exposing this moldy lunchly stuff for a while now, because she bought a bunch and she's seen people buy a bunch. People obviously go to her with her coming out on this Mr. Beast stuff and being someone who will speak out against this. So we need more people when they see wrong. If you stay quiet, your silence is complicity. But she's been speaking out, so obviously people reach out to her with stuff like this, because Mr. Beast has a whole machine that will work to silence and threaten, subdue your any kind of protest against him. That's the funny thing. All these guys, they all like to claim cancel culture or whatever, but they have a hard time if anyone objects to anything they say. And that's the true test right there. If you can withstand somebody objecting to what you say, I do it all the time. Rob, can Elon buy your loyalty? No, he couldn't buy it, but I'll take his money. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping that in these swing states, some diehard Kamala Harris and Waltz people would register for his thing and win the money, because I think that'd be hilarious. Because the whole purpose he's doing this, you know, let's say the quiet part out loud, is he's trying to get more people to register and vote for Trump. He's clear, like he said, I'm throwing hundreds of million or $75 million at Trump's campaign. He said Trump must win. If you go on Twitter, he says this all the time. I have to, I'm like constantly bombarded with his bullshit. So but I think he wants Trump to win because Trump will give him a pardon if he ends up going to prison or, you know, whatever. People like people in power so they can get out of trouble. That's, you know, a very clear thing in America that can happen. If you know people in power, you can stay out of trouble. They can pardon you, whatever it is. They can help protect you, pull off an investigation. So whatever it is. But he clearly wants like people to register to vote for Trump. That's why he's doing it in swing states. He's hoping to get these states to swing from blue to red. I thought it'd be hilarious if blue voters, you know, people that maybe hadn't registered yet, registered even though they knew they were Harris fans, and won the money from him. I thought that'd be the funniest thing, to watch this shit backfire in his face. So that's why I was saying, yo, I would totally, 100%, if I was in a swing state, register to vote, sign his petition, take his money, wearing like a Kamala Harris t-shirt. I think let's see if he's still give me the money. You know, that's another test of him. If he's still open to giving money if it doesn't go his way. Do you feel that rich people really know what the lower brackets go through? Are they so busy with life they just don't care? I think, listen, I'm not saying all rich people. This is what I try to teach my kids. It's the greedy people. It's the people that will cut corners at any cost, that will sell you out in a minute, that don't relate or can't relate to the working class. Some people can relate and ignore it because they've gotten rich, like Clarence Thomas. You know, he got up to his position of power through, what is it called? The act. There's something, I forget. Again, my brain is, Trump was selling pardons. Yeah. But I mean, Clarence Thomas got to affirmative action, and then he kicked out the ladder behind him. He tried to disassemble affirmative action. So, I mean, there's some people who are very well known, but there's something wrong with them. You know, they have no empathy. They're greedy. They're narcissists. There's something. I couldn't diagnose it, but there's something. They hate humanity. They were bullied and they want revenge. There's all sorts of different reasons why. But I think some rich people, like in Elon Musk case, not only do I think he was bullied and wasn't liked, so he's trying to buy popularity. That's why you see him act the way he does. He just wants to be the coolest guy in the room, even though he could just settle for being the richest guy in the room, and fucking people would still at least, you know, accept him as that, some people. But he wants to be the coolest guy in the room. That's why you see him do things like dark MAGA. He's always trying to be the coolest fucking dude. And he's just, that's not who he is, you know? But I think people like him are so out of touch and also use a manipulative tactic because running a business, you have to know what workers go through. You have to deal with these people if you deal with them, which you might not. Greedy CEOs actively exploit workers, and they know it. Yeah, and most of them do know. And the other reason you know that is because there are good CEOs. There are good rich people that, like that dude Dan Price, who in Seattle, his credit card company or credit card digital, some kind of work with credit card company, he raised his minimum wage to $70,000 a year, and this was like 10 years ago. So I'm sure he's raised it since then. And he knew what he was doing. He said, you know, my workers get this much a lot of time off. They get a minimum of $70K a year. And he said, and whenever we get an open spot, we get 300 plus applications. He said, there's no shortage of workers. Everyone wants to work for me. So there are people that know that just aren't that greedy. And that's a thing. It's like, that's why I brought up the Microsoft CEO. What is this $79 million a year going to get you? My old boss, who was wealthy, and he was just bullied. He came from a long lineage of wealthy people, so he can't relate to the common worker. And there are people like that. But they also, you could tell girls didn't like him in school. And once he got money when he was older, when his dad invested in him and his grandparents who had racehorses made sure he could always have a house. And once these dudes kind of get to flaunt their money, it's a different situation. Then they sense the power that it comes with. And then they, you know, so money just brings different things. But he goes to always say, oh, you want to cap people out of pay? And I never really had a good answer, but now I'm older and I have an answer. Well, if we have a minimum wage, we should definitely have a maximum wage. But my answer to him was always this, is if you're making 79 million a year, but that year you had to lay off 2,500 people and the other people working for you maybe still can't afford a 2-bedroom or a single bedroom in the city they live in, then you shouldn't get a raise and you shouldn't be making 79 million a year. The way you make that much is if everyone working for you can afford to live, has no problem, has good vacation, that you don't have to lay people off. Because it makes no sense to me that you would lay people off while giving yourself a 63% raise to 79 million. At 79 million, you don't worry about food, clothes on your back, rent, a mortgage, groceries. You don't worry about that shit at 79 million a year, okay? But people that are working for you are worried about all that. So that's why I think, you know, that's what I think we should be, there's deleted messages. Hold on, so I'm missing some of this stuff. Feel free to correct me on this because I still don't know much, but it seems like when Trump was president, America was doing really well, though he's a shitty person. America was not doing really well. You got to remember, when people become president, they're riding on the coattails of whatever happened before them, okay? So you always have to consider that because the things they do don't take effect. But the bigger thing is like when he came president, we had that pandemic that hit, which shit hit the fan, man. Like nobody could have done a good job in that. But what bugs me the most is like him not masking up and telling people to do the most basic shit. Okay. And remember, even Joe Rogan, when this started, was for masks. He made one of the greatest points and then he flip-flopped and he went the route of alt-right because they'll buy his brain pills or mushroom pills or whatever the fuck he sells. But remember, Joe Rogan even said it makes sense to wear a mask because when you go to the doctors and you're in surgery or you're sick, doctors wear masks. Why are they wearing masks? Why would they, you know, like that whole... I just want to ask people that don't wear a mask, like, you ever had a surgery? And if they had, you go, did you tell the doctor, like, don't wear a mask. Don't worry about wearing a mask. You ever been to the dentist? You ever said, like, hey, you guys can all take your masks off. Like, there's a reason we have medical fucking devices. And these people just clearly ignored it. And they ignored it and were fed bullshit and inspired and basically like some fucking demented muse that Trump did. Which, a lot of people died, man. A lot of people. And I think when you're in that kind of position of power, like Uncle Ben said, Spider-Man's uncle, with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility. And I think he dismissed it because he's very selfish and greedy. Trump said COVID, yeah. course they're going to say that about him. He's the opposing party. They compete. Shallacy, if you're supporting Trump, you're in the wrong place. I'm a working class dude. I work for a living. All my family works for a living. And Trump is very anti-worker. And that's like not something I'm... Oh, and the other thing, the tax cuts for the rich and Trump's taxes, like that year, fucking when his tax cut went into effect, me and my wife, who've never owed taxes, and we hadn't changed anything. Like Trump's taxes, he raised taxes on working class, like the poorest of the poor people. He raised taxes on us, while his wealthy friends got lots of tax cuts. And that doesn't even, I don't think that's ending for another couple of years. He doesn't support the working class, Shallacy. Fuck, are you a bot or something? Because this is so dumb. I don't like doing this. Listen to what Trump says. Trump says he doesn't support the working class. And I don't mean at a rally. Listen to his interviews, sweetheart. This is fucking where, like, I don't have time to do this, you dummy. You're a dummy if you think that, and you're spreading misinformation if you say that. He's not for unions. He told Elon Musk one of the biggest things he likes about him is that Elon fires workers who are striking. You have a federally protected right to strike in this country, okay? You are not allowed to be fired. That's being a scab. That's anti-worker. So, and the other thing, Andrew, speaking of that, what he was talking about to switch the work week hours to, I forget, it was like 120 hours a week to eliminate overtime. And he talks about he says this, he says in an interview, he says, I hated paying workers overtime. I would just try to fire them and get other workers because after a certain amount of hours, you legally have to pay overtime. This dude, I mean, it's just not a debate. I feel bad for you if you've been fucking conned into thinking that. So it's something I can't address. You just go listen to him talk in interviews and you see he's clearly anti-worker. And for you to think the guy who's been the corporate CEO of 100 businesses, all that have failed, that still stiffs fucking contractors that work for him. I just did an article about how he's stiffing cities for the rallies. He owes El Paso $500,000. If you're for the cops, then that's money that was supposed to go to the police for protecting his rallies and doing public service at his rallies. And he's stiffed them. Those are working people. He fucking doesn't care. And it's just funny that, like, this is what I mean. So then you just go to open borders. You say nothing of why he supports the working class. This is what I'm talking about. I can't do this dumb shit with you, okay? Just leave. Just fucking leave. You live in a fucking box and you're not open to hearing anything. I don't give a shit about the borders. We were talking about the working class and I'm not going to do this. Oh, let's switch topics because I can't answer you. You fucking dummy. Jesus, people. This is what I'm talking about. This is like the stupidity, because I have compassion and I have empathy for people. And I'm all here to talk to somebody if they're like, I support Trump because I think he supports the working class. But then once I tell you what he said, not my beliefs, like what he said, if you go, oh, that sucks and I'm working class, so I got to defend myself. If we can have a dialogue, then I have compassion for you, empathy for you. But if you're going to be fucking dumb like Shallacy, then get the fuck out. You don't belong here. This news commentary, which is usually comedy and entertainment, is meant for everyone except for fucking dummies who spread lies. And I'm sorry I'm cussing so much, but I just can't do it. I can't do this bullshit. I'm too old to play these dumb games. It's like talking to a 6-year-old. And when you, like, the 6-year-old knows they're wrong, they've made shit up, and when you get them on the truth, they're like, well, what about dragons? And you're like, you just gotta keep making shit up, aren't you? I can't engage. I can't engage. Oh, it's exhausting. Anyways, so interesting to look into all this stuff, especially if you're going to be buying any kind of food. This is why regulation is so important. You're going to hear, and also be careful who you hear stuff from. You'll hear Elon Musk talk about how regulation slows his companies down, but regulation also tries to make sure that his rockets don't explode over Florida, where I have family and friends. You know what I mean? If you want to look more into Elon Musk and all his fallacies, Thunderfoot. And Thunderfoot is spelled, the foot part is F00T. Thunderfoot on YouTube, amazing. He's a chemist, or he's some kind of brilliant mind, and he breaks down Elon Musk's stuff fucking A+. So Thunderfoot on YouTube. We should put it in the Oh, Chalice, you're exhausting. We should put in the Discord. By the way, join the Discord, link down below. So it's better to vote for Kamala, who can't seem to answer any type of policy question. She can answer policy questions, and she has. That's another dumb thing that, like, I can't do this. Like, guys, when I grew up, we had to look in Encyclopedia Britannica or fucking buy a cassette. You guys have the internet. Like, you know, be discerning on the internet. Don't believe everything, but, like, you can find this shit, man. God, I can't fucking feed everybody like a baby bird in this one. You know, Kamala, I just talked about this the other day. She talked about proposing a $20 minimum wage, which I said is too little, too late. Trump hasn't talked about any minimum wage. But that's one policy that I could get behind. If she can fucking raise the federal minimum wage, that will help everybody, especially the economy. We are older than Google. Timothy. I don't watch CNN and I don't watch any of that shit. I don't have TV, actually. I watch stuff on YouTube, but exactly. Trump needs your vote to pardon himself and pardon Elon. Okay, link it in the comments, Shalacy. The other thing, I mean, Kamala has a few different policies that I like, but I think they're all too, again, remember, I'm a radical fucking leftist, or just a radical. I don't want to be considered right or left. I'm just way the fuck out there. I'm a radical working class person where I think all this shit that they propose is too little too late. Like the home buyers tax redemption or whatever it's called that Kamala suggested. There's a bunch of stuff where I go, it's just too little. Like, it's not helping us. What we really need is to corral these corporate CEOs and these corporations that are destroying our country. Hey, what's up, CJ? Good to see you. Putin prick lickers. Oh, that's the other thing. Did you guys see the article today? I linked it down below. I forgot about this. That Elon Musk has been having private conversations with Putin over the past 2 years. It explains a lot of his points of view on things and his actions and certain things, which is insane. You know, it's especially insane when these Trump people call us communists or, you know, whatever, but then they're like totally fine with Trump getting a lot of patents and a lot of his business out of China and being close friends with Putin and his wife from that region, and Elon Musk having allegedly private conversations, which is being reported on every year with Putin for the past 2 years. I mean, those are dangerous things. Clean air, water, food, shelter should be a human right. That's a fact. That's the fact that we're considered extremists. I know, Timothy, that's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, call me a communist. I don't give a shit. I prefer if you call me a socialist or just a radical in general. 100%. Those terms don't scare me, mostly because you don't know what they mean. But I like, you know, when people call me shit, because I'm like, Americans should work one job, take vacations, multiple vacations a year, and not worry about rent, groceries, and other shit. I'm radical. I don't think we should have to pay for water. I am the antithesis. I am the anti-villain to Nestle Corporation CEO, who does not believe water is a human right. I believe it is. Raising the minimum wage to 25 in California. Yeah, find it. They just raised it to 20 for the fast food workers, and guess what? All the scare tactics, all the media manipulation of like, oh, it's going to cost jobs. It actually has done better for the jobs there. So raising the minimum wage, and I implore you to look that up, how it's helped economies. It helps people when they have more money in their pocket. Crazy theory. When the people who do the purchasing of stuff have more money, and when the CEOs who do not fucking live in your community and don't buy anything locally have all the money, it doesn't work. It's weird that those are the things. Yeah, presidents wouldn't raise state wages. That's true. That's why Kamala was talking about the federal minimum wage that has not moved since 2009, being $7.25, and she thinks it should be at $20 an hour, which, all for it. But the thing is I don't like when they say that, but then you find out they're like, well, we'll do it by 2054. And you're like, who gives a shit then? None of us are going to be alive. Well, I will be. I'll be part bionic robot. McDonald's is too expensive, so less people equalize win. Yeah, listen, man. Stay away from McDonald's right now. I'm telling you, the E. coli outbreak. I'm coming from a position of I'm sick right now, and that shit horrifies me. I've gotten food poisoning once. All right, guys, I gotta wrap up because I'm exhausted. My brain is a little toast right now. I'm sick. So again, if I'm a little harsh and brash, uh, I've I have a little less empathy and a little less patience when I'm sick. It's hard for me to tolerate stuff because my head is whoo doggy. But thank you guys for joining me. Is today Friday? I think it's Friday. I don't know. This day's been a blur. Falling asleep and waking up, not being able to breathe with your head pounding just sucks. But if I'm not live streaming Fortnite this weekend, which I might not be, just gonna try to recover. I'll be back Monday. Soulless, good to see you. Timothy Mnemonic, much love and hugs. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Yeah, it is Friday. Okay, that's what I thought. I've been just confused. When you're sick, time is like a fucking blur. Thank you, Timothy. Much love and hugs to you as well. Thank you, guys. I hope to feel better soon. Really, I feel bad for my wife. You know, she's got to carry so much more. She already carries so much when I'm sick, and I feel bad for my kids, but it just sucks being sick. All right, guys. So again, I'll try to swing by the Discord this weekend at least, but join the Discord, link down below. Everything we talked about, links down below. Be careful what Halloween candy you buy. Seriously, if it's not allowed in cosmetics in America and it's totally banned in food and everything in Europe, it shouldn't be allowed. The red dye should not be allowed in our candy corns and other Halloween candies. That makes me so mad because I love candy corn. Just find a natural way to do it, folks. Thunderfoot, that's right. Yo, Soulless, we got to put a link to Thunderfoot. We have YouTube recommendations in our Discord, so I will put a link to Thunderfoot's thing, which he talks about. He thinks Elon's going to go to prison, and that's why he's, trumping so hard for Trump, because he thinks, if Trump gets there, then whatever. Thunderfoot breaks it down better than I am. The other thing I'll say is if you're fascinated with some great good thought-provoking investigation stuff, that Surprise Witness on YouTube, I want to put her link on our Discord because she is an incredibly smart, articulate, and fiery woman, and she does some good content. So that's another one that I'll recommend. All right, thank you everyone that was in here. People I didn't mention: Bandito, good to see you. CJ, good to see you. Timothy, good to see you. Soulless and Koo is in here too. Much love, much respect. Peace.